We left off.
Yeah, with modern technology, nobody will know what happened. Oh, where did Jeremy go?
Yeah, you talk about crazy depth charts. I was reading this weird rumor, and I think it's only just a rumor, but it was saying like the Vikes are all their wide receivers are playing so well they might go into the regular season with 6 on roster,
Hmm.
where most teams go 5. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but I've also then they're like, and they got 3 amazing tight ends and three really good tight ends, and so all these offensive weapons, but they have like no defensive depth at all, no line depth, and it's like you should be using that to kind of maneuver and make some moves, I think,
Yeah.
instead.
Right.
Yeah.
Why have? Yeah, two receivers they're never gonna play.
Yeah. Or you rotate them in. What, I mean, what are you going to get? Right. I mean, it's exciting to hear about it first, but I don't know. You always got to create a rotation. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's the classic. Like you got, three good quarterbacks means you don't have a good quarterback. You got six good receivers. That probably doesn't mean you have a great number two.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I hope,
I
go
don't
ahead.
know if rotating players around is. Yeah, I'm always on, and we talked about that with like pitch counts and stuff too. Like I don't always know if it's the best thing, and load management with basketball. Like, man, it seemed like these guys were running better into postseasons when they just let them play instead of go, well, we got a third down back, we got a fourth down back, we got a third and long back. Like, you don't see the all-purpose running back anymore, and running backs seem like they get hurt now more than ever.
Well, they're not valued at all. I mean, that's been one of the big stories of this preseason, right? Like Jonathan Taylor, where's he going to go?
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple seasons ago, he
Back
was
to the Colts.
just destroyed. They don't want him. The
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thursday is like, it was a bad relationship. It's it's a bad deal.
yeah,
No, I feel like it was like a Lamar Jackson situation where they're like, fine, go see if somebody will pay you,
But that's
and then
Lamar
we'll see you
Jackson,
back.
and
We'll
this is
see
a
you
run.
back.
That's a quarterback who has shown a lot of potential in the past. Although maybe you can make the argument that Lamar peaked his rookie year. Um, it's you can make, I mean, pretty substantial argument that between statistics and win loss record, they were, he hasn't really advanced or developed, but he's still a quarterback who got 250 million over
Yeah.
5 years. Where Jonathan Taylor, like, what's he gonna make? He'll be lucky to
But I
get
think
like
the
10
tactic will
somewhere.
be the same. Like the tactic will be the same because they were like, well, we're not going to pay you. Go out. And then they paid him like a little bit more than
I don't think
like
he's
it
coming
wasn't
back.
what he was asking
I think
for.
it'll be more. So I'll run a parallel to Dalvin. Like, we owed
Yeah.
Dalvin what, 14,
Yeah.
and it was like, go test the market, cut him free. And there was always rumors that he'd come back, but he went and got 8.6 from the Jets. Right. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so, I mean, he kind of came out better. We're better because we don't owe the money. Um, I mean, I see Jonathan Taylor landing somewhere. Miami really wants a running back still. So maybe that's where he'll end up.
Yeah.
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 But football's just so much more of a business now. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, these guys
Mm-hmm.
they know where the value is, and they're not afraid to, the Ezekiel Elliott's of the world where the owner just pays them because they like them. Like that's going away.
Yeah.
I think the brand loyalty isn't a thing anymore. I think you see it maybe still with some quarterbacks, but
I don't
I
even
think
know
the rest
about.
of the positions, man, if your value's gone, it's gone.
Well, I
We
think
just
that
can't afford to
it's
pay you.
it's kind of fair on all sides, right? I mean, it's a business.
Hmm.
It's like it's been that way from the team side, from the ownership side. So it's fine for players, I guess, to be aware of that and get their value while they can. Because if you're a running back, more than any other position, you could be an injury away from just being out of the league.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's the steep decline on some of those positions is astronomical. Like, and running backs, one of them there too. Like, look at Michael Thomas, for example. I mean, look at it. He's what's it been, like 3 years since he was, you know, catching
Man,
40 receptions in a season.
he
Yeah.
was on my fantasy the team that year. It's a great year.
Yeah, yeah. And what's he done? Has he caught even 40 passes in 3 seasons since? Probably
Yeah.
not. I don't know.
It is interesting. Do you think some of that is like how we rehab athletes and things, you know, the return to sport, return to field faster, that pressure, you know, it
Mhm.
seems like a lot of these injuries. I mean, some injuries, like if you look back 80s, 90s, a broken arm or a broken leg would be career ending. Now
Yeah.
that's like a
Yeah.
non-factor.
Yeah.
But some of the other stuff seems like it's almost like these nagging injuries and stuff. It's very surprising with modern medicine that some of those injuries are like putting the people down like they are. I don't know. It's just an interesting.
Well, it's more of a business decision now too. Like, are you going to risk more further injury if you can, sit out and I don't know, rehab what you got going on, and maybe your team cuts you, but you end up landing somewhere else. I mean, but
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, like even when Adrian Peterson had his big renaissance after his big comeback season after his ACL in 2011, I always kind of like bit my lip and I don't know, choked it back when you'd hear people say that this was a career-ending injury, career-threatening injury, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe like 15, 20 years before that,
Mhm.
but certainly not by 2011 was an ACL career-threatening anymore.
Yeah, I feel like the Adrian Peterson thing like really brought up the accelerated recovery from injury though, where people are like, push it, push it, push it, get back to
Mm-hmm.
the field, get back to play.
Yeah.
Um, and it's interesting because I would say like general orthopedics, I think we've probably been a little on the maybe too conservative side with
Yep.
people off of hips and knees and rotator cuffs and stuff. Probably too conservative. But now you see the accelerated end with sports, and it's like I don't know. Like at some point, like tissue has to heal and get stronger, and like there
Yeah.
is like some natural healing that has to take place. So just curious,
I
I
know
thought
Cooper.
that's why I like the topic when you brought it up. I was curious to see what you
Yeah.
guys think about it, and you know, is it a lot different with a high school athlete versus a college athlete versus a professional athlete? I mean, obviously your resources are a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The money on the line's a lot different. There's different pressures, but
Their ability to commit, at the same
Mhm.
level. If you're a pro athlete, I think we talked about this quite a while back on the pod, but if you're a pro athlete and your next paychecks depend on it, you're moving, you're relocating to get your surgery and your rehab done and making that commitment, and probably putting in 4 to 6 hours a day.
A day. Yeah. Right.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
not
That's your
like, oh,
job. You're not.
we'll get you an hour twice a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder like is that much physical activity? Do you think that speeds the healing process up at all?
It's debatable. I mean, there's not a
Yeah.
hard research that would support it,
Yeah, one way
but
or
there's
the
also,
other.
but are we really, I'd love to know, are we doing studies on that population?
Well, I mean, you got to
No, we're
imagine the
not.
NFL behind the scenes is studying this stuff though.
Yeah.
That much money, you don't think they're looking into what is the best?
Yeah. Do you think when you're off the shelf too, I'm just gonna say you're out of the testing pool. Mhm. You know,
Yeah, I see what you're
do
saying.
you do you enhance that a little bit? Just try to get yourself back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Probably.
interesting. Like, at what point do you have to submit back into testing
Probably once
when
you're
you
eligible, once
once you
you're off the
become
pump,
off the
maybe.
pup list?
Yeah. Should look that up before I'm just spouting off. But yeah,
Yeah, they're testing these dudes weekly. But I assume you are probably on some different medication that maybe is already not kosher to play on.
maybe. Yeah.
I don't know though. You know,
And then
I,
there's somebody's talking about hyperbaric chambers the other day too.
yeah,
Uh,
got a
about
couple of those
therapy
in
and
Fargo.
is that gonna accelerate the healing too? And it's like, well, jeepers. Maybe in theory.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, that's interesting. There's two separate hyperbaric places in Fargo. That I think
Uh,
they mostly tout for concussion recovery.
mhm.
COVID
Yeah.
recovery is the other big one they
Yeah, I've
tout.
heard it for concussions, brain injury, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in Phoenix, they did it a lot for wound care. People that had wounds that weren't healing, they'd put them in there in theory
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get the wound to heal a little faster. But be
Something to
curious to
look
see what
into.
the
So
evidence on
probably
it
look at
would be. That's like
yeah.
anything.
See what
If you're making $35 million a year as a football player, why don't you go into like I'd go into a hyperbaric oxygen chamber for an hour a day?
try it.
Yeah. Like what are
Yeah.
you out, a
But
couple hundred
like
bucks.
you're saying, when even if you were to do like, that's why you'd almost want to do like an RCT with like the population of professional athletes, because
Mhm.
you get so much, you get rid of a lot of the variability where if like my dumb ass were to get injured and then hop in a hyperbaric chamber versus I don't know, say Najee Harris, right? Like, and then we compare our healing rates and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's like it's going to be quite. There's so many more variables, right? So I'd love to see that population. Like, okay, all NFL players who sustained a knee injury this year were divided out. Half of them were put in a hyperbaric chamber with the same type of rehab, and the other half didn't have it done. And then like see what the difference was.
Yeah, I think the NFL could get together and do those things a little easier.
And you'd have to blind it, right? You'd have to put
Yeah.
somebody in some chambers with like just
It's on
play
now.
air. Yeah.
Just blowing
Oh,
air
I
on
can
them.
feel it, coach.
Yeah. I think that'd be a pretty easy one to blind. I
I'm
don't know.
healing quickly.
I guess I've never been in a hyperbaric chamber. I don't know if you feel
Call
any
me,
different, but
just call me Wolverine, coach.
I think one of the interesting things that I'm always surprised doesn't get talked about maybe more, like even with high school athletes, like I had 2 ACLs in the last like 2 months, which is very rare for me. But it's very interesting, like the nutrition aspect of it. I'm surprised that's not like a bigger thing. Like they get these protocols and like the surgeon kind of lays it out for them, what it's going to look like over the next like 6 months. But kind of weird they don't say like, hey, and you gotta like obviously eat healthy, ton of protein. Like
Yep.
those things are really controllable factors that I think probably would speed up your healing. Or
Yep.
slow it
Yep.
down, maybe.
Well, I
One
got
way or the
one.
other.
It wasn't in my protocol, but it was a separate letter that came. I think it was my pre-op work. Maybe that said your body's going to be in a healing state, increase your protein, try to eat. Well, I think they were only going with like half a pound per or half a gram per pound of body weight. Those are freaking
Yeah, those are baby
rookie
numbers.
rookie numbers. Yeah,
Yeah.
not a growing boy like me.
Yeah.
They told you, did they say in that same packet to not cycle while you're healing too?
Not cycle. Go on,
You
kid.
juicing?
They didn't have to tell me that.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, do you guys see that with like any of your athletes that you get? Like have that conversation? They talk about
Yeah,
it at all?
yeah. I got a
Yeah.
kid right now who actually had a quadricep tendon, not tendon tear, he had a quad muscle tear, and then they repaired it. So his recovery is a lot more accelerated, but he's all about everything. He went to this group out in Green Bay, same guys that work on the Packers. Parents just must have some in there. Got him right in, and good kid, good young man. Um, and he's fully on his nutrition. He's consuming, I think he told me he's about 220, and he's consuming, about 250 grams of protein every day.
Yeah. But is that just himself directing that? Or, I mean, was that coming down from like his medical team that said,
For him, it was more self-directing, doing the research, like
Yeah.
digging into it himself. Like he's not leaving any stone unturned. But he's got different goals than I'd say. I've worked with other high school guys too, and he's got it together. He
Yeah.
understands it. He's also on his fifth year. So he's down to the end. So he
For
wants to
sure.
get some playing time this year.
Yeah. I just think it's just that interesting factor, not just sports, but general orthopedics too. When I used to work in the hospital, we do a lot of hips and knees. You had a dietitian on staff. I mean, they were going around doing diabetic education with everybody. It's interesting they didn't stop in
Yeah,
after
but how
orthopedic surgeries and be like, hey,
right?
just so you know, like, here's high protein foods. Like, this is probably stuff you want to make sure you're getting into your diet a little more regular.
Maybe the
Sometimes
most
they'll
chronically
educate.
underutilized position in the history of healthcare, though.
Yeah. Like, I don't know why it's not talked about more. Like you had them on. I get if you're just a random person out in the street, you're not going to go find a dietitian. They're not that easy to find. There's not a ton of them. You probably don't even know where to look for them. Even in Fargo, there's a handful of private dietitians, that have their own practices, very small amount, maybe 3 in the whole city. So, and I don't know how busy they are.
It's not enough. Got a lot of fat people running around up there.
Got a lot everywhere.
Everywhere.
No, we do. It's massive. That was supposed to be a joke, but you're 100%
Only
right.
in
It's
Fargo.
North America,
A little
the United
thicker
States is
up here.
awful. Like we don't have, I mean, man, we said it before, we do not have healthcare figured out on a global scale. We don't. Like we have like we're massively number one in prescription drugs
Expenditures.
and expenditures. Yeah, prescription drugs number one by like a lead mark. Number one in expenditures by like a massive amount. It's like, man, what are we doing wrong? And who's driving it, right? I mean, that leads you down that road. Like, why can't we figure it out? Because other countries seem to understand, like we talked about in the past, like a little diet, little exercise, education.
Yeah, it goes
Where's
a
the
long
money?
way.
Where's the money in it though?
Yeah, that's part of the problem, you know. But I don't know. You're right. I mean, yeah, where is the money? You save money, you know, from the healthcare standpoint, but that's probably, I suppose, not what they care about. But
No.
like at a certain point, you know, there's just going to be no doctors, no nursing homes, no hospital beds. I mean, at some point, we are going to have to focus on prevention. We're just running out of room for maintenance management.
Yeah. What do you think's going to happen?
I don't know, man.
Robots.
Just finished up with a student, and we had a lot of car time driving back and forth from like Fertile Uland to have these conversations. And it's like, you know, it'd be scary to be young in healthcare right now, because I do think like at some point it's got to break to a point where things have to change significantly. And it's just going to be hard when you're young with debt, you know. I'm probably at a point in my career where like I'd take a major pay cut or, you know, reduce hours or whatever. I'd be okay. Like saved up money. I've been through the gamut.
Would you keep doing what you're doing?
Boy, hard to imagine I'd ever quit doing what I'm doing. You know, I don't know. Like at what point?
What if you just go out on the farm and just do self-subsistence?
Yeah, you live off the land.
Live off the land.
I mean, I wouldn't be against that either. I mean, if healthcare got so bad I couldn't get a job,
If it just imploded, like you're saying, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
there just
I've
were
had the
no
same
jobs.
thoughts. I mean, I've had those same thoughts. Like, it's so not. We hear over and over, it's not sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, do you just let it crash for 5 years and pick up the pieces when everything the dust settles? You know, that's not great. A lot of people are going to die. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. You know, people are going to fall out of love with medicine.
Jeremy, what do you think?
This is what we should have had when Jeremy was off pod.
I was thinking about athletic enhancement.
Yeah.
His mind's just like, where are we going with it? We went. Those guys are paying out of pocket though.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Should we reel this back in here on athletic enhancement? And what do you got to say on this one, Jay?
Yeah.
Well, now it's just getting into the end of the world here, and
stand of medicine. People did fine without medicine for thousands of years.
This is the end. Jacking up with Channing Tatum.
No, it is crazy. Like you said, they're just like NFL is just different specimens, right? Like you're just starting with a different baseline than a high school athlete or even a college athlete. So on like Breece Hall was just coming off ACL. Like they showed him on Hard Knocks the other day. Like he hit 21 miles an hour on a slant, you know, like 9 months post ACL. Oh,
no loss in fast twitch. Right. I mean, like that's insane.
So and that's in like live drills too. I mean, it's not like he's just out there running a route, you know, like it's insane. It's insane what those guys can do. So, but I would agree with you too, Casey. I think probably overall, like we probably get a little too conservative. I would say in orthopedics in general, we can. So I don't know. I think the concepts all remain the same. It's just like a lot of dosage, right? And like what they're trying to get back to. So
yeah, and I think
had that.
Oh, go on.
No, I had that talk with. It was one of our like first PTs, and she's like, we're working with a high school athlete. She's like, I just I don't know what to do. We're doing single leg deadlifts with 45 pounds. And I'm like, did you talk to him like about what his max is, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, like, so like he pulls 405 off the ground. So us doing 45 pound single leg deadlifts, it's great, but it's not getting him to where he needs to be, you
Virgin.
know?
Yeah.
So it's like for 99% of our population that we work with in general, you're like, wow, it's a really great feat, you know, a 45-pound single leg deadlift. But for that athletic side, it's like, all right, well, we didn't challenge him at all doing that.
Yeah.
So,
I think one of the funnest parts about getting to what you're saying is like it's not just we and you and I had these ones for years, right? It's not just having them grab a bar. Let's say it's squatting. Let's not just putting them under the bar and like let's load you up because a personal trainer can do that, right? Goes back
yeah,
to the school coach can do that.
yeah,
But it's fun because it is what they want to do. And if it's not looking right, if it's not feeling right, it's like using our skills of like biomechanics and analysis to be able to say, okay, is there something connecting here? Is there some reason why you're maybe not hitting your depth or you're not feeling comfortable or you don't have the confidence to drop down and then pop back up out of the hole? You know, I
yeah,
mean, that's where it gets really fun.
yeah,
And
agreed.
you know, you can get romanticized and unilateral stuff's cool too. I do like some of that stuff. But I think, you know, one of the knocks on PT in general is like we get really fancy that way. And then,
Mm,
like you're saying, Jeremy, then we forget about some of the real like rubber meeting the road functional things that they're going to take with them.
yeah, yeah.
When you guys worked with a lot of athletes, did you guys have like a transitional program where like to go from skilled therapy into like personal training, athletic training with the schools? Did you guys like at what point did you guys quit working with the athletes and let them go off on their own?
I think that
And
evolved over time.
yeah.
It's evolved quite a bit. Like early on, there wasn't as good of a transition at all. Um, and the communication just wasn't as smooth. And I think over time it became a much more kind of tapered process, which is good. Like you'd still, and I think it's still being completed here where they're working with athletes from SMSU and Marshall High and the other high schools where they when you get to that stage and they're working more with like the athletic trainer, they're hitting their weight room.
Mm-hmm.
They're still coming in every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. Until they're like fully cleared, right? Until they're back competing. I mean, it's not a bad way to do it. You know, closing the loop a little bit tighter.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've been working with right now is like a lot of times they transition to like Sanford Power, but not the therapy, just like the personal training. So I
Mhm.
do still kind of follow up every couple weeks, just make sure the training's going well and
Yeah,
we're not running into any issues. And we do a little more neuromuscular control type stuff,
sure.
make sure
Yeah.
that looks good, you know, when they're landing, running, cutting, whatever it looks like. That there's not a lot of it's addressing fear, which is cool. This athlete has like zero fear.
Yeah.
They're ready to get back out and go, which is fun to see. But
Mhm.
been ready for a long time. But it's tough. Like one of those ones where like the protocol definitely had their certain landmarks and like hamstring was just like she could not get like her knee straight. It was very frustrating.
Mm.
Just tried a ton of stuff, you know, hamstring graft and just like everything. And it's like you feel like you're slowing yourself down, you know. It's like you want to just move on, like let's skip steps, let's go, you know.
Yeah.
But that's so hard. I struggle with that stuff sometimes because you do hear the horror stories of therapists going off protocol and something bad happening, you know. Put your license on the line a little bit that way. But high school athletes, it
Pretty
is what it
rare though.
is
I think
typically.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything of that in forever.
Yeah, it's
I
been a
think
while. You hear it more probably at the professional level, but
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I just sat through like a return to sports talk last year where they were talking about how this guy was like a what do they call like a professional witness? Not what do they call him? Where he has to go in and defend, or they ask him questions on therapy when other therapists get sued. You know,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
so he would always go in with these sports injuries, you know, to court and say, did they follow standard therapy practices or did they
Mhm.
not? And you know, most of the time it wasn't a huge
That
deal,
stuff
but
would have to be pretty egregious, like timeline of healing stuff, right?
Yeah, it's tough.
have to be
He
pretty
said,
late.
what he would run into would, patients wouldn't hit benchmarks like say quad strength was 50% of the involved extremity, and they just kind of progressed through, and then they ended up getting either quad tear or re-tearing an ACL or something, and it's like, okay, how egregious is that? Like said Jeremy, like that's what the court would ask this witness is this something therapists are able to determine, how in their base knowledge and what you get in school, is it expected that like you would know this is okay or not okay? It would be fun to bring somebody in and talk about some of those things.
And what about a place that doesn't have the resources to test that out, right? If you're just going by manual muscle testing, well, we all know how subjective that is.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the docs in our area send them off for like isokinetic testing with machine. I can't imagine every small town, Maddock, North Dakota, I suppose they drive all the way to Fargo for it, but so, and I don't know. Yeah, you wonder, like, is there just a better functional way to check that? I don't know. I assume there probably is, but so a lot of interesting stuff, and I think like Sanford does a really good job of just having all their protocols available online for everybody, so you don't have to worry about finding them, calling. I like that stuff's nice. I wish everywhere was just open like that sometimes. It's always
they
weird.
do make it pretty accessible. Sweet.
Yeah. And I think all of us as therapists probably feel pretty comfortable progressing somebody, even if you didn't have it written out, you kind of know your landmarks, but still, I think it's nice. Just everybody's on the same page. Athletes are on the same page. Then you can just, I don't know. Do you guys typically go through it with the athletes early on to say, here's your marks, here's what we're looking for? Or do you kind of just work with them, pump them up where you need to trust the process kind of thing? What do you find works better for your athletes?
I'm not. I don't typically sit down and like read a protocol with them.
Yeah.
No.
Because I know they always ask, when can I do this? When can I do that? Well,
Oh yeah, I'll talk through that kind of stuff with them, but
I'm not saying like, hey,
as far as being like
these exercises this day and stuff,
okay.
But as far as like what you would expect each your whatever criteria to progress, how in the weeds do you get?
Just during evals, I'd go through their protocol and we'd pull up a calendar and we'd be like, okay, so here's our date, and I'd write it on there. And then after going through it all, it's funny how many people are like, well, do you want to keep it? Do you want to keep it? I'm like, no, it's yours. You keep it. And, if you want to bring it back later, we can do that. But, it's yours for reference, and you keep it for those dates and work on your stuff at home too, because they have some good information in there, and especially early on, it's pretty, can be pretty limited. So, gives them a good reference point there. Yeah.
There's like the moon group has like a acltearinfo.com. That's a pretty good resource for patients too. Kind of nice. Walks them through the process. They have their little re-tear calculator on there too, and just interesting factors, like if you ever need to like reel somebody in if they're at like 8 weeks and they're like, I'm gonna go run. Okay. You're like, oh, this is not a good idea right now.
Yeah.
So
but do they talk about nutrition on there, Jeremy?
I'd have to peek at that.
Yeah.
It's a group that's got to get out there more.
Nutrition for sure.
Like,
do they identify foods that they used to love and now they can't stand
that
them?
would be fun to have that conversation with them. They'd probably be more like foods you shouldn't eat anymore, Casey.
No, it's right here. It's food that they used to love. That's amazing.
Right on there. That is
right on the moon protocol. Moon
All
group.
right, perfect time to move on to our top 5 foods we loved as kids, but we do not care for that much as adults. Was this an easy list, hard list for you guys?
You know what?
I'm sure I'm forgetting something.
Yeah, same.
But it was pretty easy. Yeah.
Well, okay.
I think when it got down to the brass tacks, easy.
Well, I think it's interesting because like I I obviously eat food. Like I'm not scared of a whole lot. So I don't know, like probably like everything but my top two, maybe three. Like I would still probably eat if somebody made it for me. Or like, my kids are like, have one of these, Dad. All right, throw it in my mouth just to placate them.
Throw it.
It's hard for me to find a food I would just like throw in the garbage, but
Just shove it in the mouth.
yeah,
Yep.
just move
Yep.
on. But definitely
Move on.
would never make these myself, would never seek them out, and I ate them a ton as a kid. So like the variance of how much I enjoyed it then to now is pretty large.
Yeah.
But like they're not, most of them still aren't disgusting for me, I guess. But
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good classification. Anybody feeling saucy? Ready to go first? I want to kick it off.
God, I wish my number 5 was saucy. I have a saucy food on here, but it's not my number 5.
Oh boy.
I'll start. It was a fun list for me. I enjoyed it. My numero 5, probably a food I ate quite a bit. When it came to sandwiches, this was probably the first sandwich I liked / loved. And it was the classic bologna sandwich. Man, little bologna, little butter, slice of white bread. Whew, man, that was good. I would eat slices of bologna right out of that little circle plastic package with the yellow plastic back and just roll them up. Now
A hot dog.
bologna now, not great food. It's like eating cold hot dogs, something I actually also did as a kid, don't do as an adult. I would just take a cold red Cloverdale and hammer that sucker down.
Just hammer
it. Yeah, and I don't think
throw it in my mouth.
And as a kid, it's not like I was throwing like mustard or mayo or anything on this sandwich. It was bread, butter, and bologna. Very basic.
Bread, butter, and bologna.
Well,
3 B's.
Yeah, that's what they always said. I think it was on the food pyramid. You had to get your 3 B's in. So that's my number 5. Classic bologna sandwich.
Wow, that's a good one. I was not even thinking bologna.
When's the last time you had some bologna?
That make an appearance later.
God, bologna. I can't.
Has a first name. Has a first name.
It had to be high school.
OSCAR.
Duh. Also has a second name.
But I've eaten some raw hot dogs, like cold hot dogs.
Still, as a grown adult?
That's gross.
I would say at like a Jeremy, I wasn't proud of it, but you get back to the camper during like a music festival, let's say. You're waiting for other stuff.
Throw it in your mouth.
Yeah, do you chew it or do you just slide her down?
Chew it. I don't have your non-gig reflex hands.
You just gotta work on it.
It's gotta work on it.
Wowzers.
Yowzers. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on quick. I go with my number 5. I'm going with the candy category here. It might not even be my last. I think we might have referenced these during Halloween, perhaps too. I don't know, but they would be Smarties. When I was a kid, I used to really enjoy, you'd open up the cheap little plastic package and then you could eat them like one by one and really savor it. My kids, like my young boys, they still really like those. I can't stand them. They're so chalky. And, every now and again, maybe to your point, Casey, like go back, you try one again and you're like, well, see, I'm like, God, these suck. Like, why did I ever really like these? But I think when you're a kid, anything sweet just like triggers that reflex and you're good,
Yeah.
So
there is nothing more satisfying than when you unrolled it perfectly, because half the time you twisted it the wrong way or you did one right, one wrong, and it was a mess. But when you hit them both right and it just opened into a beautiful package for you, it's pretty satisfying. Yeah, eat them like Pez at that point.
Yeah, but at this point they stink. I'm not a fan. Smarties are my number 5.
Yeah, not bad. All right, up there with like Valentine's sweethearts for me.
My number 5, I think would technically be in the dessert category.
Okay.
I always thought they were sweet. We never got them in the snack packs. Moms would just make up a thing of Jell-O. I used to think Jell-O was good, especially the snack packs. I thought those were awesome. Now I definitely think that's disgusting. Just a bad texture, bad taste.
Texture.
Not going
Any
with
flavor? You're like, yep.
it was usually, well, it's probably either strawberry or cherry because it was red all the time. So yeah.
I never liked Jello. That
See,
texture never got to me.
Same. I was gonna say I was never a Jello kid. I was a pudding kid. I
Huh.
liked pudding, but not Jello.
Yeah, even like the Jello jigglers when those were like cool for a while, I was like,
Yeah.
can't do them. Can't do them. Don't like them.
Sometimes my mom would make you take like cookie cutters, and so you'd get like tree shaped Jello or
Yeah, I remember.
It's fancy.
That's cool.
Never liked them. Couldn't do it.
Huh.
I saw somebody posted on I don't know, probably it was Instagram, like when they were sick when they were kids, their moms would make like the hot Jello before it cooled off and have them drink it to like coat their
What?
throat. It's like and lots of people were like, yep, that's what mom always did. I was like, curious. I'm kind of actually curious to try it now. Like, I bet that was as a kid when you were sick. That probably was all right. It was sweet. Made to put a nice wax pectin coating.
Warm Jello.
I don't know.
Gelatin just.
Well, you wanted it to
slithered
coat.
down.
You wanted it to coat. No, you didn't. It didn't even Jello. It was like drinking
No, I know.
a thick
Syrup.
liquid. Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be
syrup.
like syrup. Yeah.
The honey,
dang.
I suppose.
That's the first I've heard of that one.
It was the first I'd
Nectar
heard
of
of
the
it, but
gods.
lots of people said it was not uncommon.
Well, thank you, Gary and Marianne, for never putting me through that. All right.
It was number 4. We moved on.
You're on to
is that
number
right?
4.
Woo,
Yeah.
all right.
We're on. Yeah, we're on to number 4.
Moving into sweets for me on number 4. A little holiday treat for a lot of folks. I find them just absolutely disgusting. It's Peeps. Ate lots of them as a kid. And as I got to thinking, I said I probably just put marshmallows as a whole in this category with Peeps. I've done s'mores with the kids a few times, and I'm like, God, the marshmallow part sucks. Like, I don't like them. Yeah, don't like them. Like a dry marshmallow's got that little bit of coating on it. Doesn't do it for me. Yeah, a hot marshmallow's like sticky and gross. I don't know. Yeah, and Peeps are just even more sugar on top of it. So that's my number 4.
I'm not totally disagreeing with you. I actually, a couple weekends ago, I had the boys for guys weekend when Michelle and Maddie went to see Ed Sheeran, and we did a little bonfire. And I ate, like as a dad, you always get like an extra burnt marshmallow, and they're like, "Dad, do you want this? I'm gonna make another one."
Assert your dominance.
And it's okay. I don't hate it as much as like Peeps suck. But the Peeps have always sucked. Kind of like Jello. Like I've never really been a Peeps guy either.
Me either.
There was a time I liked Peeps. I don't know why. Easter.
I'll take a
festive.
Pure
Jeremy,
sugar.
I saw you shaking your head. You still cool with the marshmallows? Still s'mored out?
Oh yeah, s'mores are good. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Do you ever do like a peanut butter cup s'more?
I have.
That's legit. That's legit.
They actually make like vanilla flavored marshmallows for s'mores too.
Oh,
like big square ones. Yeah.
Because what's a marshmallow taste like?
Sugar.
Yeah.
Chet,
Floof.
Just
because they make
picture of clouds taste like.
I think there's a couple protein powders that are like marshmallow flavored, and it's just you drink it and it tastes like vanilla protein almost, but I don't know, it just tastes sweet.
I did buy this for my kids on Amazon. They have stuffed marshmallows.
Oh,
there was a salted caramel stuffed marshmallow. It was actually decent, but
a little bit of discrepancy there.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Little asterisk sign.
Little asterisk sign. That's why I went with Peeps. That's why I went with Peeps mostly, but I was close on the fence on marshmallows. I used to do a marshmallow fluff sandwich. You guys ever do those in your like college days? Yeah, like peanut butter fluff.
Fluffernutters are good. Syrup. Yeah, fluffernutters. That's good, man.
I did hammer a couple of those out in my college days.
That's like a big Boston thing, I guess. Like East Coast, Northeast Coast. Yeah.
Fluffernutter.
So you take peanut butter on one piece of your bread, and you put the marshmallow fluff on the other, and you put it together.
Yeah, I put a little chocolate syrup on there too.
Chocolate syrup.
So you like s'mores? Yeah.
So he likes
s'mores with bread.
Here
just
it comes.
Bread instead of graham
modified.
crackers.
Well, like I said, Peeps was my number 4, but marshmallows could have probably been close on my list. Anyways, let's move on.
And but you're right. Peeps suck because they have the sugar. They have the crystal sugar coating, which is just crunch. It's like a crunchiness to the crappy marshmallow.
Yeah, and it's like a
all
low
bad.
quality marshmallow. Like
Yeah, it's just
it's not good.
terrible. Okay, my number 4 is a liquid. It's a beverage. And
Ooh.
I went through a phase through like most kids did, like most male did, from like 10 to like 18, and it's heavy Mountain Dew. Like original Mountain Dew. I would get one like every day from the vending machine at school, where it used to be like 75 cents,
What a
and
joy.
oh, it was the best, because if I dropped $1 a day by day 4, I've just saved my quarters, and I got my, I got my fourth day of pop. And anyway,
Buy
you
four,
go through
get
a
one
phase
free.
where I just kind of moved away from it. And then I can't even remember last time I had it, but I remember I took a drink of one just to see. Like, it was probably like 5 years ago. I'm like, wow, it tastes just like pure sugar in my mouth. Once
Syrupy.
like your taste buds shift so much with time, but man, and for something that I truly just love to death, now no, not for me, at all. So that's my number 4 is like original or heavy Mountain Dew.
I know a lot of people in that boat. There's still a soft spot in my heart for Fountain Mountain Dew.
Oh,
Some ice to cut it. Some ice cubes
little
to
ice,
cut
yeah,
her.
you're
Code
cutting
red.
it out, yeah. Code red.
That's even worse than normal Mountain Dew. I'm
Little
gonna be
PK's
honest.
punch.
Yeah.
You keep saying that. You're gonna build a
The
court case
original,
for him.
the original Code Red. Yeah, cool.
What you got, Jerry?
My number 4, I said it before, cotton candy did make my list on this.
Ooh.
All right.
Again, for the same reasons, just pure sugar. Like, that's just enough to make my stomach just turn. Anything that's really sweet tasting is just not gonna do it for me. So
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is it just cotton candy or cotton candy flavored things?
It would be cotton candy flavored things too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
It's like a little C4 cotton candy energy drink just wouldn't do it for you.
Nope.
Yeah.
No,
Even like
those just
yeah,
taste
even
like
like
sugar. Like they don't. I don't
think-
know how to.
I don't
think
like
Bang
cotton
had
candy
a cotton
flavor either.
candy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bang had
some
cotton
energy
candy.
drink did. I remember that.
I think I did try that and that was bad too.
Oh,
yeah.
it was hot for a while. Bang did it. I think Rockstar might have did it.
Yeah.
What about the
Yep.
cotton candy grapes? Try those.
You guys,
Those
you guys
actually
told me.
are good.
See, I
Those
don't
are
like those. That's
good.
like that's a weird thing for me where I'm like, that shouldn't taste like that, and I don't like them.
Huh.
I'd prefer, like I said, normal grapes have figured it out. Just go back to normal grapes; they're delicious.
Red or green?
Yeah,
I'm
purple or
typically
green.
a red guy or purple, I guess, whatever color you want to call it.
I
Probably
think they're
red
called
more
red.
than because you get those like really dark purple ones. I actually like seeded grapes. There's something about that flavor I find enjoyable, but you don't find those as often
I hate
anymore.
seeds. I hate
Yeah.
seeds in anything. Yeah.
Those-
Whoever came up with
those
seedless
seeds, no
watermelon, genius.
That's weird to me though. That you're just like eating clones. Isn't that weird? They don't reproduce.
Now you're in a moral and ethical dilemma.
Can't do it. Like
Watermelon.
not natural.
I saw The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger one
Yeah.
time.
That's the world where you're heading down.
Made my-
Medical is going to implode.
Collapse.
Watermelons and grapes are going to take over.
I'm eating Dolly the sheep.
Yeah, delicious.
All right, that's a good one, Jerry. As far as flavors go, I almost put like blue raz flavor too.
Oh, that'd be up there for me too.
Because when that exploded when we were kids, it was like blue raspberry was everywhere, and it was
The
good.
blow pops, blue raspberry blow pops.
Yeah, it was like so legit. And now as an adult, it's like, it's been a go-to like amino acids and pre-workouts for 2 decades now. And now it just sucks. I'm like, God, blue raz sucks.
It's still the best icy flavor out there.
Oh.
All right.
Just saying. All right, my number 3 ate these a ton as a kid. Probably a byproduct of how easy they were to just make. It would be SpaghettiOs and Franks. Now an absolutely disgusting combination as an adult.
Tastes like the can. It always tastes like the can to me.
I love
like,
them as a kid, man. I could just hammer those things down. But yeah, now it's like that. The tomato sauce is like a real metally, tangy taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The noodles obviously are nothing. They're like you can't even taste the noodles really.
No,
The
they're not
Franks
al
are
dente.
the Franks are like the butthole of hot dogs, right? Like they took the worst part of the hot dog,
The
which is
Frank.
already made of the worst parts of animals, and
I
put
Yeah.
love
those
that you
in
called
there.
it a Frank.
Well,
Frank.
that's what they call them.
Did they?
SpaghettiOs and
On the can?
Franks. Yeah. Yeah,
Huh.
it wasn't SpaghettiOs and hot dogs.
I have like
I would
two
have
little
pegged you
boys
for
that
a
love that right now. Like
Yeah,
Gunner and Baylor love the SpaghettiOs and the little hot dogs.
Chef
You might be right,
Boyardee.
Frank. So
Yeah.
they probably had some copyright infringement they had to avoid, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I
Like,
don't
you just call it
know.
Frank's and you're
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't call them hot dogs, I guess, but I always
Because they
thought it
probably
was-
weren't real hot dogs. They were probably,
Well, yeah, they
like
were
you said,
gross.
the butthole of the
Yeah.
butthole.
Yeah. Oh man.
sharing with the audience. There we go.
SpaghettiOs with Franks. Right there, Jeremy. Look at that. Delicious
Ooh,
Frank
those
right
eyes.
there. Oh boy. That is
Ugh.
yeah.
Pasta with sliced Franks,
Yeah.
chicken, pork, and beef.
Oh, I love these as a kid. It was crazy. I ate a lot of them.
Go
That's
down
my
to
number
the
3.
nutritional facts.
That's good. Good question.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, Dollar Tree block.
I don't want them knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Look at that. Chicken and pork frankfurters made with chicken, pork, and beef, which is interesting that they call them chicken and pork frankfurters and beef is one of their
I'm
Oh,
actually a
Organically
little
separated.
chicken, pork, water, corn syrup, salt, beef, modified food starches, dextrose, lots of the good stuff. Oh, some
ascorbic acid,
nitrates.
sodium
Yeah.
nitrite,
Look at that
Not good for
enriched
you.
pasta. Like that's good for you.
high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, that's necessary in a pasta-based meal. Yeah,
Then
lots
you
of
finally get your
stuff.
seasonings down there. You get
Oh.
mustard,
Yeah,
dried garlic,
Some
spice.
niacin in there. The blood
Modified
flowing.
butter.
Yeah, turmeric.
Yeah, paprika.
You're gonna have no. Just keep eating that. You'll have no inflammation.
Anti-inflammatory.
Yep.
Yeah. Who knew? Maybe that's why I felt so good as like a 5-year-old.
9 grams of protein per 1 cup.
Wow.
Oh boy,
Oh man.
you're getting jacked.
Yeah, look at this. Healthy kids entree.
Meats claim per
claim.
1 cup.
So
So
according to the government,
there's our trans fats.
Yeah.
I didn't get trans fats.
20% of your daily vegetables.
yeah,
That's your tomato puree.
yeah.
Wow,
Ready in
okay.
3 minutes. Yeah.
I could make it faster.
Throw it in an air fryer.
Yeah. Oh. All right. That's not bad. Not bad. My number 3 is like kind of a general I'm gonna lump 2 different brands in here, but like my number 3 is fruity flavored gums. Like, so when I was a kid, I loved like Bubble Yum and Bubblicious. And yeah, it was super popular. Everybody chewed it, and every time they had a new flavor drop, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, wild berry, yum!"
New flavor drop.
They had a cotton candy too.
Yep. I was like, "Ooh, this is exciting! It's all good." And then at some point, I became an adult, and the only flavors I liked for gum, I love cinnamon.
Put it away.
Cinnamon's my
Put it
favorite
away.
gum. And then after that, it's like the wintergreen, maybe spearmint. That's it. That's it. And
Big Red. Are you a Big Red guy?
I don't mind bigger. I like the ice cubes.
That'll burn your mouth. Big Red.
So ice cubes.
Yeah.
Or the cubes.
Yeah.
Cubes are my favorite.
Agreed.
Easy to ration out. I like them.
Nice and soft.
They work out really well. Yeah, Mentos gum is actually pretty good too.
I agree with that as well. Yeah.
But every now and again,
I like the hard coating, and then
But the ice cubes people, they make like fruity flavors, and Michelle's not totally against that. And then I got the kids, right?
What's the purple one?
Grape. It's so good.
Really?
Yeah, I love
gross.
it. Yeah.
I try every now and again. The kids will be like, "Dad, you gotta try this one. It's like strawberry lemonade." No, I'm like, I don't want strawberry lemonade, So I try it, and I'm like, "Oh, this sucks." Yeah.
See, I've done a 180 on that. Like, I loved fruity stuff, fruit stripe, man, with the zebra, the bomb. And then again,
seconds of flavor.
As a grown up, I went to like wintergreen was definitely my hit for probably 10 years because I I chew a ton of gum. Like
Yeah.
I throw a piece in first thing in the morning, and I'm chewing all the way until I go to bed typically. And then I just chew like one piece. I don't swap in and out. I must be weird because a piece of gum to me tastes, after 5 minutes, tastes about the same the rest of the day. Like it
The
still
rest of
has
the
flavor. Yeah, it
day?
still has flavor for me. Like
Oh,
that
see, I'll go
huge
through like
hit.
3 or 4 in a day.
Oh man,
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. I used to put it on my nightstand, pop it back in the morning when I was in
No.
college. Oh,
man.
No, you didn't.
That's
yeah.
so
You're
gross.
telling another
That
gross
is-
story
that
just to
is
disgust
not
our
a tall
viewers.
tale. What's wrong?
Yeah.
It's in my mouth and it's going back in my mouth.
That's
Oh, God.
gross.
Stop it.
What do you think it was just
Stop
sitting
what
there
you're doing.
gathering bacteria? I suppose it probably was gross. But yeah, I'm a big
Nick,
Ice
I want to
Cubes
hear
guy.
what you have.
It's so awful.
But I
It's so
went
rock
back.
hard. There's no way. Like,
It turns back into gum within a minute of chewing it.
oh God. Oh.
The properties don't change just sitting out there in the air.
Yeah.
Jeremy, what's your number 3?
My number 3 has already been said.
Ooh.
It's mechanically separated meat. Often came in a roll with red wrappers on the outside. The thing that I would change, very, very close on the Sammy with the bologna, Casey. But it was like a piece of cheese flavored oil, right? So the
Okay. Yeah.
not real cheese. So
Yeah.
then you have the white bread, which is just like sugar, and that like
it
you
is.
Oh, it's
bite
like
into
cake,
that,
yeah.
it would stick to the roof
It
of your
just
mouth.
sticks. Yep.
But then
Yeah.
you know what you used to pair it with like sour cream and onion chips, then that'd be pretty bomb. But the thought of bologna right now just like makes me want to gag. It's nasty.
Did you use a binder? Did you use a butter or a mayo?
No.
That was the
No
cheese.
binder.
The cheese was
the cheese.
That was the vehicle of delivery.
Yeah.
American slices.
Yeah. So you were
If
raw
it's a
dogging.
single wrap. Oh my God. If you will, yeah. I guess I
heard
was.
kids say that a long time ago in reference to bologna.
Yeah, that was always what we referenced.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, bologna is super gross.
That's my
good
number
on you
3.
guys for your bologna.
That's my number 3.
That's good. Casey, number
Right.
2.
My number 2 is actually like an adult food. But I ate it a ton as a kid. And I don't know, maybe it's because I ate it a bunch as a kid that I don't like it as an adult. And it's gonna sound really weird when I describe like my love and hate for it, but it's tuna salad sandwiches. I don't know why we ate these all the time as a kid. Can of tuna, mayonnaise, sandwich. Hated mayonnaise as a kid.
A little garlic salt.
Yeah, we weren't that fancy. We didn't have spices growing up. Pepper and salt. That was
Old Bay.
Yeah. We weren't even we didn't even have Lowry's. That wasn't even a thing. But yeah, it's like I hated mayonnaise as a kid, but for some reason tuna salad sandwiches hit the spot. Again, white bread, nothing else on it. Now as an adult, the idea of just straight tuna fish salad, ugh, I don't know, there's just so much better stuff out there. It's the worst of the tuna fish, I assume. Like just again, tuna fish buttholes, ground up into a can.
It lasts forever though, which is kind of scary to think, right?
Like, yeah, and it's like
keep it in water in a can and it just lasts like 10 years.
Yeah, like in college, I ate tuna fish straight from the can in olive oil all the time. That was like my post-workout
delicacy.
Ritzy boy.
It was the same cost as the water one.
Friggin' go eating your tuna and olive oil, go to your art shows.
Now the olive oil was probably just some sort of canola oil that they called olive oil, but anyways. But yeah, there's just something about mixing the tuna and the mayonnaise and throwing it on bread that just not appetizing to me at all anymore.
I grew up with a lot of those too.
It's gross.
I think the only difference, I haven't had one in so long, I don't know if I'd like it or not.
No, hit up Subway. I think they still make them.
I'm not gonna do
I think that looks worse.
So awful.
That's like worse than out of the can.
Right?
Like gross.
Every time you're at Subway and you look, you guys gotta have done that, right? Where you look at like the
it's like a weird paste.
Scoop,
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
have the ice cream scooper.
And it's always
Oh.
full. It's always like half full. And I'm like, God, who the hell was ordering that today? Freaking
Yeah, could you
gross.
again? It's so gross. Could you imagine a foot long sub? Let me throw 40 scoops of tuna
Foot-long.
salad on there. Boom, here you go. Enjoy your meal.
Oh, make it a double.
Yeah, double meat, please.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh boy.
nowadays
All right,
it's
that's it.
$18.
I'm gonna try it, and maybe it'll join the list too, because we grew up as super easy, convenient meals to make, like when we go hunting or go on like fishing trips, stuff like that.
Yeah, even like tuna helper too, kind of that same category for me.
Dude, that's just awful. Like
Yeah.
warm tuna fish, just no,
Mixed with noodles and
never good.
salty sauce.
Even I ate it though in college, like
Yeah.
because we'd have like easy to buy cans of tuna. Tuna helper
Cheap
back then
protein.
used to be what, like $60, $70, or excuse me, 60 or 70 cents a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got like 2 or 3 meals right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, is it on to me?
No.
Is it my number 2? This would be a processed meat, but it's not bologna. It is a Slim Jim. I would eat
What?
Slim Jims quite a bit. Oh, you shocked, are you?
Yeah.
And for some
still a
reason,
good
like
treat.
like as a
Oh,
kid,
yeah.
Snap into it.
Dig it. Yeah. Snap into a Slim Jim.
Nothing was
and
snappier than a Slim Jim.
it was good. It tasted good, I always thought. And then I actually
Oil.
bought one. I was on the road maybe 3 or 4 years ago, driving to like a clinic, and I stopped and I'm like, I'm just gonna get one of these. It was like they make them like manly, they're like the extra size one. And I made it like halfway through. I'm like, God, these suck. It's just so pasty and
Oily.
mushy.
There's like
oily.
an oil coating
Yeah.
to them.
And I'm like, wow, these things suck now. And I couldn't even, that was like maybe their delicacy one. I couldn't even imagine the old
Premium.
school original, so yeah, that's my number 1 is Slim Jims. Because when I was a kid, especially, do you remember they made like they made the can with all the little ones in there?
Yeah. Pop the top, get about 20 little Slim Jims in there.
And though, like, I used to love them, and yeah, I don't know, they just haven't aged well at all. Slim Jims.
Are we at number 1 or number 2? That's
2.
your number 2, right?
That's my number 2.
Okay, cool. My number 2 has also already been said.
Oh, again.
Yeah. And that is the drink of Mountain Dew. So I'm with you, Nick. We would walk to school. So it really hit hard like 7th grade. Because we had to change our route and we went by the old Canby Bakery. And it was like $1. You'd get a 50-cent roll and then a can of Mountain Dew. And we would just smash those things.
Breakfast
right?
Come in with a
champions.
heavy sugar
Oh
buzz.
my goodness. But yeah, the thought of drinking that now, like, that would make me nauseous. That would make my stomach turn. It's just, what is it? 50 grams of sugar and 12 ounces.
I think there's 46. I think there's 46 per 12. I think, but somebody could fact check me on that. We looked through some different pops because we educated the kids on all that a few years back, and just how much is loaded up in a can or in a bottle. And man, yeah.
46
Who cares,
grams.
Dad? What do you know?
Was it 46?
46 and a 12.
Yeah, baby. Still got it.
It's just a lot of sugar. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing when they like show it where they take like granular sugar and they fill it
Mhm.
up to like 11 ounces, of the 12-ounce cans, just sugar. You're like, how is that even possible? Like, science is amazing,
High fructose corn syrup.
right?
That's how you do it.
Like, that's magic almost.
Yeah, but
So
I
that's
loved
my
them
number
back
2.
in the day.
Oh, me too. I mean, we would do like sleepovers as
Oh yeah.
kids, like where you drink a case of them, or you
Well,
bring like 2
Yeah.
liters and you just smash them.
Oh, the
You're
2
like, we're
liters
not
were the
sleeping.
bomb
We're playing
back
Super
then.
Nintendo forever.
Yes.
Like just ugh,
Poured on
gross.
the rocks. I did like it on the rocks though, in a glass. Living big.
Two fingers.
Yeah.
two fingers of Mountain Dew. Straight. I don't need the ice.
Yeah. Don't stir it, don't shake it.
but yeah, that's my number 2.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you go like how much I loved it as a kid to how much I still enjoy it now, like it's still a pretty big disparity because that was definitely the drink of choice for every kid. Whew.
Oh yeah.
The only
Like,
thing that
if
came
a kid was
close,
drinking a Coke, he was a loser. Like
The Coke
you're like a
kids were like
mom.
hard. No, they were like hard to me. They were like the blue collar kids.
Those
that,
are the
like,
kids that were smoking.
that's all we get at home is dad drinks Coke.
Yeah, Mountain or whatever the Sam's
Smoking
Club was at that
and
time.
having a Coke. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my question. What was your guys' number 2? Mine was Sunkissed.
Like your number 2 soda drink?
Yeah.
Ooh,
man.
I don't know if I ever went to anything else.
Yeah. I never had a strong number 2. Squirt. I was a big Squirt guy.
Sour.
Squirt.
Yeah.
Squirt.
See,
Squirt and
actually,
7-Up were probably my 2 close seconds. And then at root beer every once in a while would hit the spot. Barks because it had bite more than A&W.
I said I still like that A&W zero sugar.
My mom was a big Mellow Yellow drinker, so that was probably the secondary one if there was no Mountain Dew around. So
when I was a little kid, I think we talked about this off pod or we were texting. I was more of a Mellow, like the old school, the OG Mellow Yellow. But then something happened. Mountain Dew got into me.
All those chemicals will get you.
Yeah. Sugar grabs a hold of you.
Move on to the big number 1s.
Mortal Kombat.
I spoiled this, I think, last pod, and my mind has not changed the more I thought about it. My number 1, still the Candy Circus peanuts. I hammered those things as a kid. Every time I went to Napa, I had to get.
You were like the only person.
I had to get the 50-cent bag. I thought they were so good.
My grandma had those too. They were.
Like I said,
Casey Hansen and Jeremy's grandma kept
Sathers in business. Circus peanuts in business. They're still at Fleet Farm. Somebody's buying them because I bought some like 10 years ago, like the pound bag at Fleet Farm because I was like, these are so awesome. I can't believe I can get a whole pound of them for $5. I got home and popped one in my mouth and couldn't even finish it. So like I said, most things on this list I'll eat. Like if you made me SpaghettiOs, I'd probably sit down and eat them. Just a polite man. Again, my kids will give me a peep. I'll eat it. Man, you give me a circus peanut, I'm gonna say that is garbage time. I might put it in my pocket, save it for later in the garbage, but
later
I ain't eating it.
Circus peanut.
You chew it a little bit, put it on your headboard.
Come back to it.
Oh yeah, you put a little water on those circus peanuts, let them swell up about 18 times the size. Man, I can't believe you guys are just throwing gum away. How much money did you guys have in use?
I have gum money.
Well, now I don't do it anymore. But man,
I think it was rocking like 3 cents a stick or something like that, right? Didn't it used to be 15 cents? You get 5 sticks.
Back of gum,
or maybe it was 25.
Probably 25, I think. Yeah, you get Fruit Stripe. Fruit Stripes suck though. Like you name drop that. It was like it was good for literally like less than a minute.
0.5. Yeah.
And I feel like Fruit Stripe had some sort of weird sweetener in it too, because that was like a gum that gave me a headache when I would chew it. It was weird. I'm on it. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll figure that out.
Yeah, I was definitely more of a bubblicious guy.
Super sleuth.
Double bubble. My grandpa had like 100-piece bucket of that. And I would just see how many concrete. I would see how many I could get into my mouth at one time.
Man. Okay, everybody did that too. And everybody did it with fruit by not fruit by the foot. Yeah. What am I thinking of?
Just syrup. You just spit syrup.
You just started foaming after a while when you got so many of them in your mouth. Again, they had a powder on them too. I don't know what that powder was, but
it kept it all separated.
You'd find a grape one too.
I don't know if that ever happened to me in my life.
Yeah,
it's crazy talk.
I was gonna say like fruit tape gum, right? Did everybody try to do that at one point where it's like, can you fit the whole thing and just like
just bite it like a burger,
just ruin it? My number 1, we're on a number 1, has already been said. I've alluded to it ad nauseum. It's cotton candy. I don't know if there's anything that I really loved it. The fair came around, you get all excited. Sometimes they'd fill up the bag right in front of you out of the machine, and you got to see the magic happen. And it was like exciting and good. And you got the blue stuff if you're a boy, because you don't need the pink stuff. I don't need to turn into a girl. And
wow,
those are the beliefs.
You need to apologize to our listeners, Nick.
Now that was like 8-year-old Nick talking.
I believe Nick always says, as long as it's historical in reference, it's okay.
Oh,
So,
okay.
you can't just wipe away history, Jeremy, because it hurts your feelings. But now, man, I like my kids, they're in that phase where they love it and here, dad, try it. And it's just never any good. It just isn't. No, it disintegrates in your mouth like so quickly, it just turns into like sugar crystals. And there's our fruit. Now you're on to fruit stripe.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. We can talk about fruit stripe later. Finish
No,
your
I'm
talk.
good.
The
17
tattoos,
sticks.
the
What a
tattoos
random-
suck too.
Yeah, they always broke apart.
Yeah.
Just garbage. Yeah, fruit stripe was terrible. But I
I mean, the zebra is cool.
Yeah,
The zebra's
naturally and
cool.
artificially flavored, but like the ingredients don't really, I guess they say natural and artificial flavors. You don't know what it is. There's something
your-
in it. Just made me ill when I ate them.
You got your
They look
probably
cool,
your
though.
dyes, right? Don't they talk about how
Oh, man.
certain dyes, especially with
This was a banger.
red
Yellow
fo-
5 and
Yellow
red
5.
40.
Red
And
40,
red 40 in
yeah.
the same one.
They talk about how red 40, I think, is associated with some neurologic stuff when consumed in high enough
What?
amounts. Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Oh,
Right. And yellow 5, I think that's a oil byproduct, right? It's super addictive.
We talked about this on the pod, right? Where like Fruit Loops are banned in a number of countries because of the dyes.
I can't remember that far back.
And we all right.
What was
That
that,
was for number
episode
one.
12?
Yeah.
My my number one is another mechanically separated meat.
Ooh.
And that is hot dogs. You know, I
Well, we
almost
didn't hit
put
hot
this
dog
in
now?
here. No.
Now, where do you sit with
brats all day.
frankfurters?
That would be in the same bucket.
Okay, I just want to clarify.
I was imagining that frankfurters are like Vienna sausages that are sliced. Like that would be.
I've never
I don't
seen
know,
a
maybe not.
frankfurter in dog form. I don't know, cylinder form, whatever the proper term is.
Yeah.
So tell me more about you hating hot dogs.
So,
man. I don't know.
Hot
dog
one
fan.
of my go-to meals growing up was like 2 boxes of mac and cheese, and then I would boil a pack of hot dogs,
Just
and then
smash it.
you'd slice them into the mac and cheese.
Sounds like a hearty hot dish.
Yeah,
man, it was delicious.
Manly.
But you know, actually, more recently, I had a little Easy Mac making it for the kids, and man, mac and cheese just doesn't do it for me anymore either. I ate so much Kraft macaroni and cheese, like, and Schweigert fun dogs.
Schweigert, yeah.
So, yeah,
I got
can't do it anymore.
I mean, regular. If you still get some warm, fresh mac and cheese,
like well made, a nice hearty, cheesy mac and cheese still hits the spot for me.
It's really good.
Yeah.
See, and I never had like Kraft mac and cheese growing up. My mom always made it from scratch, and I actually didn't like that much. My brother loved it. It was like a soupy mac and cheese. So like other kids would have like the Kraft stuff, and I was like jealous. I was like, oh, that looks so good. So now as an adult, it's a treat for me. I'm like, I can do whatever I want as a grown up.
Powder, and I'm sure there's some dyes in that powder, right?
Oh yeah, it's like orange. We bought the I don't know if we talked about this. I bought the Cheeto mac and cheese one time because I thought my kids
flaming
were into
hot.
Cheetos.
Did you go flaming hot?
No, I was just regular. When my kids were like into Cheetos, I was like, you guys, mine's gonna be blown. That stuff, that dye, whatever they used in that was not healthy. I took a few bites. Yeah, I took a few bites and I was like, I don't think this is good for the family. I made a dad decision and we didn't eat the rest of it. But
those Bar S, that was a good one too. That was a good cheap.
I think you still get those at Wally. Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, they used to have a big pack. Oh man,
the Frankfurters in brine look absolutely disgusting.
I tell you, brine pickled meats though.
Those are expensive.
Pickled meats are good, man.
I don't know. Not unless it's herring. I'm not a big pickled meats guy.
I'll tell you what, I don't know, there's something before
herring,
around 4th of July, a little barbecue. I like a little grilled hot dog, with I think we talked not really ketchup as much anymore, but mustard, maybe some relish. That's good.
Yeah, I sure like a hot dog at a game, man. That's good.
All right, I got one, Jeremy, though, a little caveat. Remember when we went to Chicago like almost 10 years ago? Those dogs were legit.
Yeah, they were. But you know what?
Shout out
I
Gene
would
and
say
Jude.
this. It was more like that was more of an experience thing, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm not just gonna be like, hey, let me boil a package of hot dogs and eat them all. That's just it's on the same level as
Yeah,
bologna.
you are correct. We paid for the ambiance. You are
Yeah.
correct. Plus, they
Oh.
smashed they were doing the hand cut fries. They smashed them on top of the dogs, and that was good. It was
Yeah.
all good.
What's the point in boiling a hot dog? I've always just mic'd them.
Yeah.
They better if you boil them.
Oh yeah.
No, they're worse. They're soggy.
Like I never understood why would you go through all the trouble to boil hot dogs?
How about a bratwurst, Jeremy?
That's how I learned. I do like brats. Yeah.
I like brats. Yeah.
Do you boil your brats?
No. Well,
Okay.
In beer.
occasionally you'll pre-boil before you grill them.
Okay.
Okay.
Boil them in some beer.
Beer brats are good.
Yeah.
It's just good.
Way better than hot dogs. I will give you that. Like a brat, better
Hot
than a hot
dogs.
dog for sure. But yeah, I still like a good hot dog. That was fun. That was good lists.
Yeah,
Like
fun
that
stuff.
stuff. Yeah, I had a couple short listers. Captain Crunch. Man, that was good as a kid, but just it's like glass now as an adult. Cuts my
Yeah.
mouth open. Still like the taste of it. Just can't put my body
The
to eating
texture
it.
just too much for you.
I was gonna put tricks on there too.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Sugary.
All those dyes. Dang good
Ugh.
thing you've moved away from them.
Speaking of
Yeah.
dyes, another thing, when I wasn't getting circus peanuts at the Senex or the Napa, I was getting Boston baked beans. Those also
The
were
red.
short listers for me. Yeah, bright red. Yeah. And then I almost put just standard chicken tenders on my list too. Just not
What?
into that anymore. Yeah.
What?
Chicken tender doesn't do it for me anymore. Like a DQ chicken tender basket. Loved it as a kid. Now as an adult, I'm like,
You get it
like
fried
white
right. with the
gravy?
Mm.
I mean, yeah, you
Like-
gotta go gravy when you're at DQ and you get the dipping sauce, but
I got a kind of a controversial one that was on my short list.
Ooh,
Maybe could be Funyuns.
It's
get
so
out of
good.
here. Yeah.
I
Funyuns
tried-
are delicious.
When
They're
was the last
so
time
good.
you guys ate Funyuns?
Within the year, I would say.
It's probably been a little longer for me, but
I had
within a couple.
I think within the last couple of years, I bought a bag for the first time, like really super excited because I've passed them for years and years and years. I'm like, I never get Funyuns. And so disappointed. It's just mush, man. Texture.
Mush, they're supposed to be crispy. Maybe you just got a bad bag.
It was mush. It was
See,
Yeah.
they should
It's
be nice
probably
and crisp.
expired.
Yeah.
all right. Maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll give them another go, boys.
I don't know if they still
Thank you.
make them. I should have looked this when we were talking about foods they don't make anymore. But if you find the steakhouse Funyuns, those are really good.
Okay, I'll look it up. I think they make other flavors too, right? Don't they make flaming hot ones? Those-
Yeah, I think they make flaming hot and regular. It's probably the only major
Everything.
ones. But steakhouse they used to have, and those were
you
those were good.
yeah, and you mentioned like ices. I actually had slush
Steakhouse
puppies
ones.
on here.
Slush
The old
puppies. Oh
slush
man.
puppy.
They
This is syrup and ice now.
yeah, steakhouse looks like they're out of stock everywhere. Yeah, they brought like slush puppies to our school one time. I remember that. Like somebody brought like a slush puppy machine in. That was like an
Mhm.
event. For kid got a slush puppy.
That would
Yeah.
have been cool.
I don't remember. But what makes a slush puppy different than an icy? A little
Well,
slushier.
the icy is just like
It's a
constantly
dog
moving,
instead
right?
of
Yeah,
That's a dog. Didn't you wear like a
instead of
beard?
a polar
It's
bear.
cool.
yeah.
Instead of
I
a
know the
polar bear.
difference between the mascots, guys.
The
I,
texture is
Oh.
different. Like the texture is different because it's like
is slush puppy more icy like? I
Yeah.
haven't had a slush puppy since I was in probably first grade.
like an icy is really smooth, right? Like the ice and
Mhm.
everything's been mixing and blending and
Yeah, and
all that
it's
stuff.
like whipped almost.
Yeah, it's got very airy.
Yep.
And a slush puppy is just like, I think it's just like really finely ground ice, and then they pump the syrup in, and then you drink it.
So it's like shaved ice.
He's
Kinda, I guess. I don't know.
well, you're the icy connoisseur here.
I do like ice. I
It's
like
very
ices.
airy. Very
Yeah, a
airy.
tropical ice when it's nice and hot out. That's delicious too. You get two flavors mixed.
Yeah.
I go lime and grape typically.
Lime and
What about the
grape.
dyes in that?
You're killing
It's all
yourself.
natural.
Casey.
It's all natural.
Oh, it's all
Naturally
organic dye.
colored.
So
Yeah, I'm
like,
sure.
so funny. We were doing this list. I took my kiddos to Cherry Berry last night. My wife
You
was
still
out,
have one.
and God, I let my kids make whatever they want. I just watched them, and it was so gross. My daughter, 4.5, was like a little bit of every flavor of it was chocolate, watermelon,
Right?
cheesecake, whatever. And then it's like just the stuff she put in there. She put the marshmallow in there. It's like, yeah, I like pineapple. Put some pineapple in there. Get some Snickers in there. Lots of
Yeah.
sprinkles, Dad. And I just watched her eat that thing, and then she was like, "Oh, you should try some of mine, Dad." And I was like, "I did." It was
Yeah.
so gross, such a
Yeah.
mishmash of flavors. And then she wanted me to save it, so I put it in the freezer.
Mhm.
So it just turned into a block of like one flavor. And I tried some of
Yeah.
that this morning, and it was even worse. I was like, "That's every gross flavor I can
You know,
imagine."
some
Why
of
did
that's
you try it again? And why this morning?
of course
I
he did.
I knew we had this
Of
show. I
course.
wanted to talk. It's content. I put my body on the line for this show.
Yeah, you do. You've drank vomit.
Yeah, I'll do anything.
Oh.
It's
You
way
know,
better
that's
than
kind
the
of
vomit, if I'm being
but
honest.
you're right on. Like that was a little bit of the genesis of this idea was just my kids are always like into stuff that I just don't really care for. And it gets you thinking. You're like, it's the same thing. My kids, we had a cherry berry for a while and they just load up all the it's like flavors that you don't think would go together. But to a
Mhm.
kid, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna mix fruit with chocolate and caramel and
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
and then
Orange sorbet and Cookie Monster.
I'm
That'll be
whipping in a
good.
cotton candy ice cream.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Cotton candy ice cream covered in chocolate syrup, and
Yeah. My son's done stuff like that at like the Cold Stone here. Yeah.
even my son,
Mm.
who's like 7, I was like, "What flavors ice cream you get, buddy?" He was like, "Oh, watermelon and chocolate." I was like,
What?
"Why? Why those two?" He was like, "Oh, watermelon looked cool. It was like a cool color." I was like, "Oh, that was a gross
Yeah.
combo."
Yeah. Well, that's why we grew out of it.
Yeah. And that
Childish
concludes
things.
episode 67. Don't throw this childish thing out. Hit
Ah,
us up at ptshoptalk@gmail.com. You got any topics you want to talk about, stuff along those lines? Check us out, Facebook, YouTube. If you ever want to see what we're pulling up, if you want to see what fruit stripe looks like and brined frankfurters, check us out on our channel at PT Shop Talk. Until next time, I'm Casey Hadson. With me as always, Nick Doling, Jeremy Van Klompenberg.